Welcome back, my dear friends. This is going to be kind of a combination video today. I want to tell you about the, first, last week I did a video about the Graf Zeppelin stamps because I think they are absolutely fascinating and they are not so outpriced, most of them, that the average collector could not enjoy them if he or she wanted to. And anyways, I mentioned that I had ordered a cover, postal cover, from the first flight of the Graf Zeppelin Hindenburg on October 22nd, 1928. So I'm going to present that to you today. I want to give you a couple updates on two other things though. First, the kittens that I haven't said anything about in quite a while. Didn't say anything because the mama cat had hid them in several different places. Altogether, but she moved them from time to time. And I hadn't seen them for the last 2 weeks. And so I came down into my basement here, and my son David and we started moving stuff around because I was afraid the babies were dead because we hadn't heard a peep. And we got underneath the basement stairway, and there were all 7 of them laying on this cold cement back there, but they were all alive and fine. So I put them in a basket, took them upstairs. I'm going to show you a clip of that in just a minute. And took them upstairs, closed off the basement, closed off all the other doors so she couldn't hide them any place other than 3 rooms. And within an hour she has them hidden again upstairs. They are cute, they are doing great, and here's a little clip of the kittens in the basket this morning.
The ceiling, and that exposes the handle. You pull it until you can't pull it.
The thing before we get to the cover I want to update you on is the alleged haunted guitar and a CREOLE doll. Now, there was at least one of you that warned me to get rid of them. And the paranormal does not, as a rule, scare me. It did when I was a kid, but as an adult, it fascinates me. But there was 2 things happened that convinced me I needed to get them out of my house. And one was I was sitting on the floor in my living room, and I had a bunch of stuff spread out in front of me that I was working on, stamps and things, and I had a plastic roll of tape sitting about maybe a foot from me, and for no reason it was like somebody pinged it and it went flying. When I say it went flying, I'm talking maybe 4 or 5 inches at most, but it startled me. But then the next day I also have this stack of plastic frames, picture frames, and they were piled up or stacked up neatly on some books. There was no wobble in it or anything. The cats weren't around it. And I was doing some work at my computer and I heard crash, and I turned around suddenly and they were laying on the floor, just the picture frames, and there were no cats around, so they hadn't interfered in this at all. And so having 2 things like that happen, which possibly have some logical explanation. I haven't really thought it out completely, but I thought it best to get those particular items out of my home. And because this is a home that I want indwelt by the Holy Spirit, and that's the only spirit that I want indwelling this home. And so someone else took them. They've been, whether they've been disposed of or not, I don't know, but somebody else took them. And hopefully that's all I'll have to do with them. Now I'd like to open this as neatly as possible, but the way it's taped, I'm probably going to damage the back of the envelope bit here. Okay, let's see. Big reveal? Not yet. Big reveal? Not yet. It's also taped inside of here. Oh, this is awesome. Awesome piece. And in a minute I am going to do some close-ups of this, and then we'll talk about all the different elements that are on the front of this cover and on the back. So I will be back with you in 1 second. Now, onto the cover. I'm going to be showing you close-ups as I'm talking about this cover. This cover is really unique. It's a very historic document. Now this was sent from Detroit, Michigan. Theodore, oh boy, Oleschweier. It sounds German perhaps to me. And and then underneath the return address, it's underlined USA. And it was sent, underneath of that is a line here which says, send by airliner Graf Zeppelin from Paula, or to Frau Paula, and then the Kahn, Paula Kahn. And then there's the name of a town here which I cannot decipher. It says under that town name Rhineland, then it says Germany and underlined over here. Behind the address is what is really a cool part, which I wish was more visible, but it says first flight airmail, and it says, let me see, via Graf Zeppelin, and then there's a little tiny Zeppelin picture there, and so then United States, Germany, October 28th, this is 28th, 1928. Now that's interesting, I hadn't noticed that before. It says October 28th, 1928, and yet the cancellation at Detroit up here says October 22nd. So I'm not sure really what's going on with that. And if you had some thought, that's a little bit perplexing. But then on the reverse is another cancellation, and it is at its destination in Germany. I was hoping it would shed some enlightenment on the town name here, but it did not, because that cancellation is slightly blurred. All things considered, I am very, very happy to have this piece in my collection. It is truly an historic document, and an iconic piece of a part of aviation history that didn't last a long time, but was amazing. It was, the Zeppelins were luxury. They were just awesome air machines. Now, the actual Zeppelin stamps had not been issued yet in 1928. That came as a later, as I explained in the last video, as a way to fund part of the costs of a Zeppelin flight. On this particular cover, so we have a 4-cent Martha Washington and a $1 Lincoln Memorial, which are very nice stamps, 1920s. And underneath that is one of my very favorite stamps of all time. It's a bicolored red and blue airmail stamp showing a beacon tower and a monoplane beside it. Now, the cover was more than I would normally spend for an item, but from time to time I've been known to spend to overspend, I guess, when there's a particularly historic item that comes to me that I enjoy, that I want to have in my collection, and that I'll enjoy it in years to come. And this is one of them. That piece was about $40, which still is not bad for something of that historic significance. So, I hope you enjoyed looking at the cover, and I hope you enjoyed the updates. The kittens, you know, their eyes are still not completely open. They're just starting to try to toddle around, you know how they do. There are, out of the 7, there's 2 gray, one which is a tuxedo type cat like its mommy, and one is solid black like Charlie Cat, its daddy. So when I can get more pictures of those, I will share them with you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you much. You are my very dear friends, and I love you. And I'll talk to you soon, God willing. See you later.